So many years before now, there came an ethnic group from the black race of Africa. These people are known to be the wisdom behind the black power of the black race. The hierarchical order of the emancipation of these people metamorphosed into several people, families, groups, villages, towns, cities, etc., etc. When she was gathered, she then settled down, compared her strength in all ramifications of life, and with an astounding exploit of mythical proportion, it was done on all that she is the giant of Africa. Her constituents then spread in expansion, and with associated and befitting names of qualities like the city of excellence, God's own people, the big heart, the fountain of knowledge, the food basket of the nation, the commercial city, the heartbeat of the nation, to mention but a few. A trip down memory lane reveals that the name Esan, the heartbeat of Edo State, came into being. This was not born out of mercy or self-acclaimed superlative, but it was born out of a combination of hard facts and truths, drawn from the testimony of her casualties.
Yes,
colonialism, the Esan person was there, and in the building of the new Nigeria, in every facet of life, even where the major ethnic groups alone were to be heard, in fighting for freedom for her motherland from the shackles of colonialism, the Esan person was there. And in the building of the new Nigeria, from all facets, the Esan person was and is still there. When Nigerians are gathered, the Esan person stands out for intelligence, sportsmanship, innovation, industry, resourcefulness, political sagacity, etc., etc. When the Esan person stands to talk, it is with boldness, born out of conviction, truth, and singleness of purpose. At the middle of his speech, his or her fans emerges from tens of hundreds to thousands. When he or she pauses to sit, the ovation of all becomes the consequent accompaniment. They are magnanimous in expression, actions, and presentations. Whenever there is a gathering of the Esan people, all her extended family. A line from a recent jingle on television runs this: other animals took to their hiding at the roaring of a lion. The super duper manifestation of a person of Esan ancestry are awesome. They may not be too big a people. They may have started when others are already ahead. But when the Esan person starts, he overtakes with speed. This is the truth, and it has already assumed a might of its own. A few specific here may suffice. In the Nigeria political history, for instance, certain individuals of the Esan stock have so much established their mark that in discussing the polity, the discussion will assume the form of personality review. This is because such dramatic personnel were or are more of deities than mere politicians. One of such personalities is Chief Anthony Enahoro. He is the elder statesman of great renown who joined in the struggle and fight for political freedom from our colonial master. Till date, he holds the record of being the youngest editor of a national newspaper, the position he held when he was barely 20 years of age. Also worthy of mention is Chief Anthony Aneni. Love him or hate him, you will always concede to him that he is a political strategist of mythical proportion.
Essa hoje, eu resan la hara. Essa bado. Greetings to every one of us. Today, I am going to be relating with us as unto the title of this message today, or the topic of this message today, which is topic doing justice to the Esan history. But I would like to set the record straight by letting every one of us know whether we are a Edo-speaking part of Benin or any other group in Benin that we come across this message, which is titled doing justice or doing necessary justice to the Esan history. And this message is not a sagalicious message. It's a message that we, the Esan people, we who are members and leaders of Esan Focus Association, deem fit to come on board to do justice to the Esan history. As you listen to me attentively, you are going to get full understanding of the Esan history and the advent of the word Esan and the advent of the word Edo. Brothers and sisters out there, wherever you are, as you're listening, endeavor to press the share button, share to friends, share to brothers, share to sisters, share to every Esan individual you know out there. Welcome on board. Waboshan. Now, the message is all about doing justice or doing necessary, because this is very necessary. Doing necessary justice to the Esan history. The Esans are not literally children of the Oba of Benin. For a brother cannot be the one who gave birth to his brother. I think some persons will have issues with English language, but I will do my best and possible to make sure I explain in details. If you follow the terms of my word, the Esans are not literally, you have to note the word literally, children of Oba of Benin. Literally means, for example, if you and your brother, maybe your parents are no more, as it is stated that you or the Aigbe of the family, you will say those people in that family, they are your brothers, they are your children, so to say. But literally, you are not the one who gave birth to them. In conception view, you are not the one who took a wife, got married to the wife, impregnated the wife, and then gave birth to them. Conception view. So this is what I mean by, I have to break it down for the sake of those people who might not understand this little English language that we use these days. I call it little English language. So literally, the Esan people are not the children of the Oba of Benin. I have been one who has been doing justice to the integrity of the Benin generally when it comes to defending the Benin history generally on Facebook page as convener of Great Benin Emancipation, that is now South-South Alliance movement. Now, it is necessary we set records straight. I am going to point out a lot of things to be able to broaden our understanding. Like I said before, this is not a sagalicious message where you come on board to say, oh, we have said it before, like other people used to say, the Oba is this, the Oba is that, and in an abusive manner. No, this is not what I am asked to do. For those people who will come across my message, because I've been coming across a lot of people who are on Facebook there in a sagalicious way of dishing out their message. No, I am here to set the record straight. The Esan people are not literally the children of Oba of Benin. Am I saying that there is no similarities within us in that Benin kingdom? No. Am I saying that there is no commonalities amidst us in that southern part of Nigeria? No. We must note that we today, the southern part of Nigeria, whether you choose to call it South-South, Southeast, whatever South you choose to call it, we must note that we have a lot of commonalities. We have shared a lot of commonalities amidst us by reason of our long coming. We've shared a lot of commonalities amidst us. But there has been people who has been existing. It does not mean that the people who had, or the kingdom in the ancient time, the kingdom who had influence, so much influence, are the one who gave birth to the other kingdoms or to the other group of people. We are going to also look at the word influence. As I explain further, I will make sure I drag our attention to influence, how people become subjects of one influence or the other, whether in political sector, whether in monarchical sector, whether in work activity sectors, in your job, in your offices, whether it's that view, there is power of influence that a people will definitely be subjected to one way or the other. Now, when I say we are going to look at the name Edo and the name Esan, and let us put our attention to what I said not quite long, that the Esan people are not literally children of the Oba of Benin. Yes, this is because the title Oba, or the dispensation of the Obaship in Benin Kingdom, is a recent dispensation, is a recent dynasty. In the Benin Kingdom, generally, there are two dynasties, the Ogiso dynasty and the Oba dynasty. We know fully well that the Idu dispensation was the one who gravitated into these two dynasties, the Ogiso and the Oba dynasty. I mean the Ogiso and the Oba dispensation, or let's say dynasty. Yeah, the Idu dispensation was the one that gravitated into these two dynasties, the Oba dynasty and the Ogiso dynasty. We know fully well, as history have it, that the Oba dynasty is the last dynasty of these two dynasties, Ogiso dynasty and Oba dynasty. So, if we are to settle for the word that is erroneously narrated according to what they call history, if we are to settle for that word to say the Esan people are children of the Oba of Benin, knowing fully well that the Oba dynasty is the last dynasty, is a recent dynasty, you will agree with me that the Esan people did not begin their existence in the Oba dynasty, did not begin their existence after the Oba dynasty, nor in the Oba dynasty. So it is erroneous for we to say, or for any history out there to narrate, that the Esan people are the children of the Oba. Because the Esan people has been there, has been existing before the advent of the title Obaship, the dispensation Obaship, or the dynasty Obaship, as you may call it. So how can a people who has been existing before the advent of the Oba dynasty become the children of the Oba dynasty? The Oba dynasty, the Obaship title, came to meet the Esan people already existing. Now, let us go deeper. Let us go deeper. You will agree with me that the word Idu, which a whole lot of us in southern part of the world today have failed to embrace ourselves as part and parcel of ourselves by reason of supremacy consciousness. If we should take supremacy consciousness out of it, we will get to understand, we will get to realize, and we will get to acknowledge that we, the southern parts, or mostly the southern part, because if you should also look outside the southern part of Nigeria, you will also get to realize that Idu also cuts across outside the southern part of Nigeria. But because of supremacy consciousness, because of supremacy pursuit, supremacy quest, a lot of us who are supposed to see ourselves as part and parcel of ourselves, we fail to acknowledge that we have shared a lot of commonalities amidst us. Remember, like I stated earlier, that the word Idu, or the person Idu, from where these two dynasties emanated from, the Oba dynasty and the Ogiso dynasty. Remember, the Ogiso dynasty came before the Oba dynasty. Now, before these two dynasties, there were Idu, people of Idu. And this is why when you look into that southern parts of the world, you will see a lot of commonalities, most especially the Esan. When you even go to the east, you will also see that Idu also cut across the eastern parts of Nigeria. And in Esan land, you will also realize, get to understand that most of our kingdoms, most of our areas, most of our community in Esan land is named after Idu, There is no name, there is no secondary school, there is no market in Esan land that is named as Oba Market, that is named as Oba School, that is named as Ogiso School, that is named as Oba Street, Oba Nyagbon, Oba Nyato, Oba Sogie. There is none there. It's only Idu. Iduena, Iduoni, Idu. I'm never Tessan. Idu, I'm never Tessan. Why? Because this is still ancient people. The ancient people are the ancient people who choose to maintain their ancient identity and their ancient language. And when you look into the eastern part of Nigeria, southeast, you will get to also see that there is also Idu, but because of supremacy pursuit, supremacy quest, which one is more higher amidst the monarch, amidst the kingdom, which one is more great, we have failed to embrace ourselves as people who are actually part and parcel of themselves, irrespective of our spoken, similar and dissimilar languages. But when we look at it holistically, we will get to acknowledge that there is a whole lot of commonalities amidst us, but particularly Esan focus. We are focusing on the Esan history. The Esan history that needs to be transparent, and we need to do justice, because I talked about influence. You know, when you also look at the West and you see the influence they had by reason of the political endowment, political empowerment, which they had so much influence on when we began a nation called Nigeria. Earlier enough, the Yoruba had so much influence. In short, the first printing press was there in Yoruba land. So they printed a whole lot of history book. This is influence. So with this their influence, they are able to write history in the way it will elevate their Yoruba history, or their Yoruba view, or their Yoruba arrival above every other languages. When we come to look at Benin, Edo State, by reason of this monarchical influence I'm talking about, there is also histories, a lot of the histories that has been written to, in a way, elevate the Benin, who are the Edos, above others. This is influence. And the children of this generation, when they are looking at such history that always says that the Esan people are children of the Oba of Benin, we seems to be asking ourselves, how are we children of the Oba of Benin when we know fully well that the Oba dynasty is a recent dynasty, and the title Obaship, or the dynasty Oba, came to meet us? We did not come to meet the dynasty Oba. So how can the Oba dynasty that is recent, that came even before that came while the Esan people were already existing thousands of years? So it is erroneous. This is the justice we need to do to our history. We are not children of the Oba of Benin, literally. And when we look at politics, the way monarchs are being recognized politically, it is also influence, which is not wrong. It is also influence. And the monarch, which is positioned in every state, in every kingdom, as, okay, this is the supreme monarch. That is the monarch every one of us ought to be subjected to politically. But literally, it does not mean that we are children of that monarch, or that monarch is the one that gave birth to us in the ancient time. We are operating a structure which is socio-political structure, socio-political engagement, and we are subjects to that socio-political engagement, and also subject to social monarchical engagement, socio-cultural engagement. But we must understand that if these people are not put together in a state, in a country, they will also have a monarch amidst them that will be as supreme unto all the kingdoms, all the 35 kingdoms we have there in Esan land. For example, Aigbe Okosun. Aigbe Okosun. If, for example, the Esan people are on their own in their states, in Esan states, we will be subject to the Aigbe Okosun. So by reason of we are in one state, so under political structure, every one of us are subject to the monarch that is elevated politically above every other monarch. That is how it is. It is not to say literally the Esan people are children of the Oba of Benin. Like I have always narrated, that we are parts and parcels of ourselves. What does that mean? That we are part and parcel of ourselves. It means that in the early days, when we all upshooted from Idu as brothers and sisters, it means that as you all take a look at your siblings, your brothers, and maybe these your brothers, your parents that gave birth to you and your brothers and sisters, they are no more. They are dead. Does that mean that you are the one that gave birth to them? You people are part and parcel of yourselves. You came from one root. You are not the one that gave birth to your brothers, literally. So, now, let's look at the word Esan and the word Edo. I have come across a lot of Esan sons and daughters that has been asking, Besare Mukeye or Besare Muheye. Well, let me keke mare zoe wotesan. Eso kijo bi mare Mukeye. Eso kijo bi mare Muheye. That is, how did Esan started? How did we begin? Now, by reason of where our history is laced to, by reason of where our history is largely narrated to, the people or the elders that we are asking, Besare Variye, Besare Muheye, Besare Mukeye, Ekijoy Otedo Manak Mano. Ekitamama jo Otedo Manak Mano, or Eso Kijoy Edo Manavai. Now, let me set this record straight. because our people who are out there as historians, Esan historians, you people are needed to do justice to Esan history. Now, let's look at it, the word Esan and the word Edo. We know that the word Edo is most recent. And Edo is a person, or was a person, a servant to Prince Ogun, who became Oba Eware the First. And Oba Eware the First brother, his brother who was on his mission to usurp Prince Ogun throne. Prince Ogun, who became Oba Eware the First. Listening attentively. Prince Ogun, who became Oba Eware the First, and his brother, whose name is Owafi Okun, who was on his mission to usurp, to hijack the throne, the throne from Prince Ogun. Oba Eware the First name is known, or is called Prince Ogun. He became Oba, but while he was Prince, Ogun, the elder brother to Owafi Okun, and Owafi Okun, his junior brother, was on his mission, tried his best and possible to usurp the throne, to hijack the throne from him. Now what happened? Prince Ogun, who became Oba Eware the First, has a boy whose name is called Edo. His name is Edo. And this boy was like errand person, someone who you sent errand. Or if you are a prince, if you're a king, you have one who is your servant. Now, your servant, you always send him, go and look after this, go and bring this, go and watch over this, go and watch after that. Now, this boy whose name is Edo, or whose name was Edo, who was a servant to Prince Ogun, who later became Oba Eware the First. In that mission, in that quest of Owafi Okun, the brother to Oba Eware the First, Prince Ogun, in that quest of trying to hijack the throne, Oba Eware the First, Prince Ogun, always send his servants to go and watch, to go and spy how his opposition, his brother, is preparing, because they were always in a battle. So, and then to be a watch out over Owafi Okun. So, Prince Ogun was in a hideout, and Edo, the slave, or the servants, to say, Edo the servant will always go and spy Owafi Okun and come to his master, Prince Ogun, who became Oba Eware the First, to tell him this is what is going on, this is what is going on. Eventually, Owafi Okun and his soldier apprehended Edo and killed Edo brutally, butchered Edo brutally, butchered him like dog, like animal. And when the Prince Ogun got to get the information, he was so sober. And when he eventually became the Oba. And when he became the Oba, that was when he took up the title Eware. He was Prince Ogun. Then when he became the Oba, he took up the title Eware, who became the Oba Eware the First. And to compensate his servants, Edo, he has to name that kingdom Edo, that group Edo. So, why will we not say that we are children of Edo? And Edo is most recent. The Esan people has been there before Edo. Don't get it twisted. This is not a sagalicious message. We, the Esan people, we need to do justice to our history, irrespective of our brotherhood as the Edo and the Esan people. I am coming to the area of Esan, also how Esan arrived, the word Esan, the name Esan arrived. So I've been able to also narrate how the name, how Edo also arrived. How Edo also arrived. So we cannot say, it is erroneous for we to say we came from Edo. Every one of us in that southern part of the world, mostly in that southern part of the world, that have Idu traced up to our lineage. Every one of us have one unique historical story or the other, but our history has been largely tempered. Just as the Yoruba aspects use their influence, their political influence, to temper the general history of the Benin, the same thing, the Benin has also tempered the general history of the Edo State people, the Benin people that comprises of the Esan people. So we must begin to do justice. Every people who seems to be the major tribe, the most populous tribe, the people who plenty pass, they use that advantage to manipulate the others that are not as populous as them, that are not in the leadership seats. This is what is happening to us in Nigeria. Now, the Esan people must, at all costs, pay close attention to their history and begin to do justice to their history. Before I continue, let me play this to you as maybe 2-minute break.
So many years before now, there came an ethnic group from the black race of Africa. These people are known to be the wisdom behind the black power of the black race. The hierarchical order of the emancipation of these people metamorphosed into several people, families, groups, villages, towns, cities, etc., etc. When she was gathered, she then settled down, compared her strength in all ramifications of life, and with an astounding exploit of mythical proportion, it was done on all that she is the giant of Africa. Her constituent then spread in expansion, and with associated and befitting names of qualities like the city of excellence, God's own people, the big heart, the fountain of knowledge, the food basket of the nation, the commercial city, the heartbeat of the nation, to mention but a few. A trip down memory lane reveals that the name Esan, the heartbeat of Edo State, came in.
Thank you for hanging on. Yes. Now, let's not talk about the name Esan. Please, every Esan persons out there, most especially those people amidst us as Esan people that has been necessarily going about to get hold on the real version of Esan history. We know fully well that we don't have a lot of books out there that thoroughly narrate Esan history. Most of the books that we have there are books that are narrated by the Benins, the Edos. We, the Esan people, we must stand up and not begin to draw our history from the advent of the dynasty of the Oba, because the Esan people has been existing before the dynasty of the Oba. The Esan people have been there before the advent of the word Edo. Like I said before, it is erroneous for us to settle with the history that erroneously narrated that the Esan people are children of the Oba of Benin. No, the Esan people are not literally children of the Oba of Benin. It is erroneous. This is why in Esan land generally, you will not see any structure. You will not see any image that is built as reference to the Oba of Benin. You will not see any statue. You will not see any school that is named Oba School. You will not see any kingdom. You will not see any street that is named as Oba Soge Street, Oba Yanmo Street, Oba Yanto Street, Oba Retin Street. You will not see there in Esan land, because a people name their community, the streets in their community, after their historical ancient existence. What you see there in Esan land, like I have stated out before, is Idu here, Idu that, Idu re, Idu ena, Idu oni. Because we are ancient people, and if we are speaking concerning ancient time of the people that comprises of the southern parts of Nigeria, whether you choose to call it south-south, whether you choose to call it southeast, whether you choose to call it southwest, or whatever southern part of Nigeria, if we trace our history, we will see that every one of us have commonalities that is laced to the ancient Idu that is popularly known as Pa Idu. One group of people should not lay claim on Pa Idu only. Just as you, if your brother or if your parents gave birth to 20 people, 20 siblings, 5, 3, 7, as the case may be, one amidst these children cannot lay claim only to their father, to their parents. Every one of those children that came from these parents both share of their parents. They have commonalities, broad commonalities, whether you are of polygamous home, looking at it from polygamous view, you cannot, one son or one daughter cannot lay claim, so to say, no group of people, if we are people that really have to look into our commonalities and embrace ourselves in that manner, we will not agree to one group of people that is laying claim to a parent. So looking at it from Idu, like I am saying and I am reiterating emphatically on it, that the Esan people are not literally children of the Oba of Benin, because the Benin, the Oba dynasty is the last dynasty, the most recent dynasty. And we in that southern part of the world, by reason of our commonalities, whether we choose to agree or disagree with it, we will get to acknowledge that in as much as in the east you have Idu here, Idu there, when you come to Esan land, you have largely, broadly, Idu Ona, Idu Meni, Idu Ure, Idu Ena, Idu Ona. In Esan land, this is to say, most of our kingdoms, our communities, so to say, are named after Idu, because Idu being the ancient progenitor of the people of southern part of the world, we the Esan people, we stick to our ancient identity with the name and with the spoken language. We stick to our ancient identity. That is why, knowing fully well, it is only erroneously narrated that the Esan people are children of the Oba of Benin. The Benins or the Edos and the Esan people are part and parcel of themselves. No supremacy concept should be accepted, but it is okay for us to be subject to monarchical structure or political structure that has taken one or presented one as the one that oversee over this group of people or these groups of people. So monarchically and traditionally, we are subject to such structure. But literally, we are not children of the Oba of Benin. Like I have been narrating, I gave us the history of the dynasty of the Oba. If you just came in, you have to go back after this broadcast to go and listen to that history, how I narrated it. Now, I am now approaching the word Esan and the word Edo. I have been able to explain the word Edo, how the word Edo came about. And I explained that for us to be able to see that the Esan people are not children of Edo, because our history has been tempered, and the version of the history we have at our disposal is history that has narrated and inserted into Wikipedia space that the Esan people are children of the Oba of Benin. So the children, the sons and daughters of Esan, each time they are in quest of going to verify, to ask, to check historically, how did Esan people arrive? We seems to be asking people who are narrating from the view of the erroneous historical narration that has been buckled up in a book and inserted into Wikipedia space. Ekijole Esan oto edo eda vare, oto edo eda akmano, or Esan iwoken edo Esan hi. No, it is erroneous. Because, like I have stated, Edo, if we have to settle to say the Esan people are children of Edo, then you agree with me that Edo, who was brutally killed, a person who was brutally killed in the recent history, who was brutally killed, this person who was a servant to Prince Ogun, who became Oba Ewari the First, and the brother of Prince Ogun, whose name was Owafiokun the usurper, trying to usurp the throne from his brother Prince Ogun, who on the long run, they apprehended the spy of Prince Ogun, who became the Oba Ewari the First. They apprehended this spy. The spy was the servant of Prince Ogun, who became Oba Ewa the first, as they apprehended him, what they did to him was to beat him up mercilessly, kill him, and pieces his body into different parts. And when Prince Ogun became the Oba, who took up the title Eware, became the Ewa the first, named that group Edo to honor him. It's not to say that the Esan people arrived after that event. So if we are saying that we are children of Edo, it means that the Esan race started from Edo. If we are saying that we are children of the Oba of Benin, it means that the Esan race started from the Oba of Benin dynasty. So for us to get it straight, we must get to understand that we have been there thousands of years. The Edo people did not start their race and got married and start giving birth, and in that process, they now gave birth to the Esan people. No. Every one of us that has shared commonalities, long-time commonalities or long-term commonalities amidst us in that certain part of the world, we have one or two affinities that we will be able to trace down to Idu, irrespective of our spoken similar or dissimilar languages. Now, the Esan, how came about the Esan? How did we come up? How did we begin? Bimare Muhenje. We should not settle for tracing our history to the advent of the Oba of Benin. It is erroneous for us to always trace our history starting from the 11th century. It is erroneous. We need to do justice to our history. It is erroneous for us to end our existence to 11th century. It is erroneous for we to trace our history and end there in the dynasty of the Oba, because it is our very presence the dynasty of the Oba was adopted. It is our very presence the dynasty of the Oba happened. So how can we that has been on ground for thousands of years now become children of what became in our very present? So this is erroneous history. Now let us now look at it. First of all, before we know, we need to look into all the Esan communities to know that there is no land, there is no street, there is no community, there is no school that is named as Oba Sogi, Oba Market, Oba Yagmo, Oba Retin, Oba here, Oba there, as it is within the Edo community. Because we did not start our existence in the advent of the dynasty of the Oba. That is why you will not see any place in Esan land that is named, or you will not see any statue in Esan land that is erected in place of the Oba of Benin or any Oba of Benin. It is always Idu. All our places, our communities that are named as Iduena, Iduoni. This is why we must first of all look beyond the 11th century. We must first of all look beyond the advent of the Oba dynasty. We must get to understand that literally we, the Esan people, we are ancient people. We are as ancient as the Benin people also say, or also narrated, that it is not that they started their race and they got married, and in their marital affair, they started giving birth to Esan people. So we have been able to hear how the word Edo came on board. How the word Edo came on board. And we ought to also know how the word Esan came on board. Let me let you know this also. In the existence of a group of people, or in the socio-cultural engagement of a group of people, if a specific event happens that means so dearly to them, whether it's added to their existence or whether it removed to their existence, whether it caused pain to their existence or whether it brought joy to their existence, a group of people that in their existence, if anything happens that is so significant to them, that which happens mostly across all human community on planet Earth, what they do, that which happens, they adopt the name and name that name upon themselves in that dispensation or in their dispensation, so they will be addressed with that name. Now, Esan. We also remember in this monarchical structure, then when we were living together as part and parcel of ourselves in a kingdom, when we are living together as part and parcel of ourselves in a kingdom, what happened? What happened? The children of the Oba of Benin also, then the Oba, one of the Oba, then died mysteriously. They died mysteriously. So, because of that, which happens to him, he made a decree that for 3 years, nobody will take baths, nobody will eat food that is cooked with oil, nor food that comes from fire, and no husband and wife, no whether husband and wife or people of age will not have sex with each other, on which this affects Esan population and depopulated our population. So, because of this, the Esan, who are always warriors in that kingdom, who has most of the spiritual might to fight battle, you know, people of such will not tolerate that kind of decree. So because of that, the Esan people, what they did was to dash away. They jump, come on. Somebody said I should use pidgin English. So these Esan people decided to say, we have to go. We have to. It's just like, for example, 3 of you are of one parent, and one amidst you that is from one parent or that are from one parent is so, let me not use the word arrogant. It's so hard, it's so hardened. Yes, that is the right word, because I'm trying not to be sagalicious or not to be abusive. So, it's so hardened. So the rest, or the one amidst them say, no, we cannot tolerate this your hardiness. We are brothers, understood. That one amidst them will just decide to go away from that family sector. Dash away. So, Esan, Eda Sanokmano, Eda Jo, no. We will not. Because they tried to wait, though the Esan people did not leave every one of them, all the kingdom, all the 35 kingdoms you will now have out there in Esan, did not live immediately the same time. So, some left and started living, and because of this, other people, other groups like the Urobo people, the Afemai people, and some other people, they also replicated, you understand, and started living, because we took the move first, because it affected our numbers, it depopulated us. It is so hard for such a decree to be pronounced, because you as a king, or you who is representing as a king of the people of various kingdoms, various group, you who is representing as their leader, you lost your child or you lost your children mysteriously. So to mourn your children or your child, you made a decree that nobody will sleep with his wife, but you as the king, you were sleeping with your wife and bearing children. So you see how other group got depopulated in the advent of their population growing, and not taking bath for 3 years and not eating oil food and food that come from fire for 3 years is hardened decree. It's a tough decree. So the Esan people, who are the warriors, who are mainly the warriors spiritually and physically of such let me call it, of such unity that comprises of different groups of people who traces their ancestry to Idu. So the Esan people, who are the ones who are mostly the warriors, spiritually and physically, you wouldn't expect them to humble themselves to that kind of decree, because they have what it takes as well to build their kingdom. And that is how Esan Kijo Eje Obiaba Nakmano na Sankmanovina. Obiaba Eje na Sankmanovina. Let's jump away from this place. So that Esan Nijo Sankmano we now adopted, or that word Esan was adopted to ascribe a certain group of people. It does not mean that that was when the Esan race began. So I come up today to come and do history to the Esan, to come and do justice to the Esan history, because every people who are asking where did the Esan come from, they always trace our history to when the Esan people dashed away from that sector, from that unity. When they dashed away and they end it there. They traces our history down to 11th century and they end it there. It is erroneous. The Esan race did not begin from when the Esan dashed away from that unity, where a hardened decree that is inhuman was decreed upon a group of people. So I am calling on Esan intellects to start doing justice to our history. We must not accept all history that is uploaded into Wikipedia space. Because you find it on Google, you will say it is correct. Google is garbage in, garbage out. What you give to Google is what Google will give to you. Garbage in, garbage out. Google is not self-made. So when we look whatever is there, look into whatever is there in Wikipedia space, trying to Google the Esan people, and it pop up to tell you that the Esan are the children of Oba of Benin who dashed away, who jumped away from so time is erroneous. We are not children of Oba of Benin. And the Oba of Benin are not our children either. But we agree that we share the same ancestral roots, tracing right from the era of Idu. So, I talked about influence earlier. In that southern part of Nigeria, or in Nigeria generally, do you know what happens? Both in politics and both in traditional institution, what they always do is the most populous people, the people where they are number na plenty pass for population, they always use that as influence over a people that are minor in number, that are minority in number, not minority in intellect. You understand? So they use that influence on them. So that influence is what is happening amidst us, where the monarchical structure or the political structure, the one that has been appointed to oversee a particular group of people, traditionally, they use that influence to write up and change and temper a lot of things. Just as large numbers of the Benins are crying that the Yoruba temper their history with the early political influence they got right from the era of Obafemi Awolowo, Ajayi Crowther, so on and so forth, right from the era of the first printing press that was there in Yoruba land. So before the Benin people could put themselves together and start writing history, the Yoruba must have used their influence to write a whole lot of history because of that privilege. So the same thing is also happening in the Benin Kingdom. And we, the Esan people, Esan Aigbe, Esan Aimu, we should not follow erroneous narration. Common sense will tell us, common sense will tell you that before the word Esan came on board, the people has been existing. So why should any reasonable person, any sane person, trace the Esan history to that very event, that very happiness where the word Esan emanated from? The word Esan emanated from events, something that happened that the Esan refused to tolerate. It emanated from there. It started from there, so to say, or it came from there. It does not mean that that is when the Esan people began their existence, their race. Our history must be traced back to Idu. And the coexistence of every one of us, whether the Oba of Benin, whether the any king in that southern part, ought to be thoroughly narrated out. Not in a way of supremacy concepts. Because it is this supremacy concept that is breaking our coexistence. It is the supremacy concept that is breaking our coexistence. We are supposed to be coexisting together irrespective of our similar and dissimilar spoken languages. This has been broken, it has been breaking our coexistence. Even when we came on board as a sovereign nation, and we say, okay, let us now have what is called Midwest, from Midwest Bende. From Bende, we could not hold because everybody were trying to break away themselves from the shackle of supremacy concepts. And the people of Delta State today, they said no. They agitated for their state and they broke away. Inside Delta State today, there are people who are still refusing that supremacy concept. The Urobo people, and they are now pushing and agitating for Wado City. So what am I trying to say? Is it that it is good for us to be breaking ourselves apart like that? It is not good, but nobody will tolerate supremacy concept. There is nobody you put sugar in his mouth or honey in his mouth that will spit it away. There is nobody that will want to break away from a union where everyone is valued equally. There is no group of people will want to break away, will agitate to break away from a union where everyone is valued, is rated equally. So, every kingdom that is merged together in those states to create and form one state, focus on Esan focus. Now, for example, the Esan people. We also have one who, if we are on our own, the Esan, the 35 kingdoms in Esan will be subject to, as we now that are merged together, we are all subject to the Oba of Benin in the structure of politics. There is the Okaje of Esan, the Okaje of Esan Aigbe. If the Esan people are not together in Edo State, will be subject of the Okaje of Esan, not the Oba of Benin. So what am I trying to say? In every union, there is always one that is appointed. There is always one that is allowed to oversee over a particular union. But that should not be taken to assess people as less privileged and most privileged. Less important and most important. It should not be taken. And now, let's look at the language, for example, and we are going to look at, if you see snake, as the history has been stated by the Edo, it is the Edo that pronounce it. Now, there is this proverbs of the Edo that says, if you see snake, first kill the snake before you kill the Esan people or that Esan man. So why did I decide to adopt that as an identity? Even on my ring like this, you see that this is snake. I will narrate to you, because if you dare the Esan person, you are drinking from the venom of the snake. And when you drink from the venom of the snake, you know what that is. So, we Esan persons has been angry about it for a long time, but I am not angry about that. That is why I have to stand in accordance to that and even replicate that in my ring. To tell you that if you dare me as an Esan man, in as much as I am not plotting for your downfall, in as much as I am not pursuing you, in as much as I am not against you, if you dare to come my way, diabolically, physically or otherwise, you are as one who has ventured to go drink from the venom of the snake. That by the wayside. Now, when you hear the word that says, if you see snake, you have to kill the human being that is standing by the snake first before you even dare to kill the snake. If you see snake and you see a man, first kill the Esan man first. That is the proverbs of the Benin. Now, if really and truthfully the Esan people are the children of the Benin, will you see snake and first kill your own children first before you kill the snake? You will not. Nobody will kill his own child first. Rather, you will protect your child. You will protect your children first before you kill snake. So let's ask ourselves, if really and truthfully the Esan people are children of the Benin, will that proverb anyway come on board? It will not come on board, because nobody on earth will kill his children first. Why did that word came up? Because the Esans are so swift in attack, which we will deal with that history another day. The very reason why that word came on board. The Onoji of Oromi and one Oba of Benin in battle. That's, by the way, sir, that was the reason for that word. Because the Esan people, they are so swift in undertaking you, they are so swift in attacking you in battle, and you would not know how they overtake you. And that is the advent of Aigbe Okosun, that is now called Aigbe Okosun, that is now coined to Aigbe Okosun today. So that by the wayside. And really and truthfully, if you see snake, if really and truthfully we are the children of the Benin wouldn't use that word. Because from onset, the Benin are not the people who gave birth to us. Like I have said, our coexistence as a people, our commonalities that has been shared as a people is not denied here, and should not be denied, because we all have shared gross commonality amidst us by reason of where we are coming from, Idu. And nobody should lay claim to Idu, say they are the Idu. Because no children, and amidst these children, one amidst the children cannot lay claim to their parents only, to say they own their parents only. No, they can't lay claim. So anybody in that southern part of the world, that one way or the other their history traces to Idu, we should now look in a way for us to harmonize ourselves. For us to harmonize ourselves, where some persons are not seen, or some group are not seen as most relevant and less relevant, where no group is marginalized politically or otherwise. That is the harmony we're supposed to form. But if such harmony is being rejected, a group of people have their rights to dash away. History can always repeat itself. Esan de ka sankmano, e de sabori sankmano, oto do steti, ni ma kegbe ma re de na. Iran ude, esan na Aigbe e mahin. So do not take it as sagalicious, because right from the time, I am a kind of person that respects all monarchs and I advocate for the respect of all monarchs, not to the detriment of identity of a group of people. Instead of us to be sagalicious, because I am speaking to all those Esan persons that are replicating some of the Edo people that embark into sagalicious broadcast. We, the Esan people, we are not trained like that. We don't imitate what is wrong. We are swift in our action. Break away from any sagalicious broadcast you're doing. Break away from any abusive broadcast to any monarch you're doing. Makwegbe koko manesan. Makwegbe makbe manesan. Mare fiolere jana mouanlu. Mare fiolere di madame mwegbe mafia. Because mazegbe ma obone. There is no amount of abuse you will render on a particular monarch that will give you value. Wa esanrele Esan sons and daughters. What vibe, what do the bama, what do tunani mature Esan focus? Because Esan ma dollar orenia. Esan ma ferenia. Oni shiole mada kwegbe kugbe, mada jole, Esan focus ima o ma mubona, and ima mo ikbofonia. Esan focus ikinonia. We have to focus on ourselves. Na fiegbe wanre, jumada zegbe wan obo. Aigbe, aile, oisankin. Anywhere, Aigbe Okosun. Anywhere oni. Ni ma wunya wo, ma vae wonu tuna. Ma do okobok gbe, na ro dolo toisan. For you people that are saying you welcome me back home, you welcome me, I was not lost before. It's just that you do not understand. I was not lost before. All my broadcasts that I have been making there on Great Benin Emancipation, there was never a time I denied my Esan identity. There was never a time I overlook any word that is spoken against Esan people, whether you call in or you write it out. I always block people who come to speak against Esan people. Always. And I always drop their call. Why I was on that broadcast? Why did I came up? Let me set the record straight. Why I came up as Great Benin Emancipation convener was to make sure that those people that are land grabbers, those people that are trying to distort the Benin history generally. You know, the Benin history generally, as it is stated out, if you look at it, it comprises of every one of us. So it's good for us to first of all defend that general view first. Then I can defend the general view for then I can dollar now choice and focusing here. That was what I did. Because as at that time, there was nobody on air in the whole of Benin that was defending Benin from the Kudumigodo Biafra that came on board, the Biafra and all those stuff. So that was why I came up for that. And I have been able to sensitize the mind of every one of us. And thank God today, a whole lot of persons are now out there to defend as well. Because I've been able to do justice to that. So for you that is saying welcome back home, it's an erroneous statement because I was never lost. There was never a time I disclaim my Esan identity. I always pronounce it that Omones and Biele or Imehin, all my broadcasts are still there. So Onike, Esan focus Ikonania. If we are defending generally, that is different because I jona sikoko, I jona sumama. So I can defend the foe. Ebimere dokere because ubo amezenia. Uromiki jobimere dagbare. So ebimere dokere. Ora, or ebireme dokere. So ora. So as I'm done with that now because we really need to set record straight. Or you seeki me jegbe me ha. Or you seeki u ki. So ni ma wunya wo ma vai ma kobogbe ma re dollar toisan. Because amu and be what hotel do natural do state elenania. Politics amu and be. History has been tempered. But like I was narrating now, I am pleading to those few Esan people that came on board because they were triggered by most of all those Edo persons that are there on air with their sagalicious nonsense. So we don't join that kind of thing. Break away from that sagalicious and this thing. And because I also see some few Esan people who started replicating these, most of our Edo brothers and sisters that I freed by telling them that they are not Biafrans. So the Esan persons came on, but they started imitating them, and they are also tracing their history to Biafra. We are not Biafra. Because you want to jump away from identity that is wrong, you should not also jump into another wrong identity. If you have been listening to me on that other page, you will be able to understand the advent of Biafra. Historically, realistically. And I have done justice to that. The Biafra people today, they don't know where they are any longer. They jump from Biafra to Idu Biafra, from Igodomigodo Biafra, and from Igodomigodo Biafra to Idu Biafra, and now they don't know where they are again. So to tell you that Biafra is not viable. So what am I saying in essence? Most of those our Esan persons, or some, very few of them, they are not up to 1%, so to say, that are now replicating the people that I opened their eyes, our Edo brothers and sisters that I opened their, that I freed, who were championing Biafra before. Then there was no Esan person on air identifying themselves as Biafra. Later on, those people started joining them, and those people that are free, they are no longer in a Biafra pursuit again, except few of them. So please, all those of you, that is why you need to share these broadcasts. If you've not shared these broadcasts, share the broadcasts. Follow, press the click on the follow button. Click on the follow button. That page is more than 17,000 followers. So you have to build this page to grow more than that as well, so that we will be here to do justice to our history, and we are on ground. Because it's not everything will come and air us. Just like Atanakma. You see the way Atanakma security network they happen for Esan land. No, the Esan people will not come. You saw all the, just as the Yoruba people bought Hilos. Are we trying to say that politically we are richer than the Yoruba people? No. But because ma kugbe mada kugbe mada kuigo kugbe oze ma sabo luoni. Do you know how much to buy one Hilos? Not to talk of we have more than 10 Hilos and more than 10 power motorcycle. We are not coming on air to come and rant. We sat down, and we are the only group of people that have been able to, even the governor of Edo State has not been able to do that for the whole Edo State. We are the only group of people that have been able to sit down and say, okay, this is what we will do. Now we need to do more. We need to free our land from wrong history. We need to free our land from political oppression, from political marginalization, and we need to make sure our land is developed. Because as it is today, what has been happening is recycling development, fixing of road within the Benin City, like as if Benin City is only Edo State. We have other cities inside that Edo State. If Uromi is focused on, Uromi is mega city. Ekboma is mega city. It is because these governors that have been coming on board, they are marginalizing us. After we give them our mandate, we vote for them by reason of them bringing their ballot buses and ballot and voting papers into Esan land and even interior parts there. Their ballot paper and ballots and buses will get there, but infrastructure will never get there. So it's time for us to look away from sagalicious brokers. Those are our Esan brothers and sisters you're seeing online. I have tried my best to call some of them, which I don't want to call their name here. I did not disclaim myself from them that they are not my sisters and brothers. I know that they are wounded. They are bleeding. That is why they are erroneously doing those kind of saga. But we must call them to order. We must advise them. No, you don't need to go and be abusing Oba of Benin. Let all the monarchs be on their own. We ourselves, we need to start doing our homework. We need to go and meet all our onoji and speak to them. And it will not be on air. And we'll begin to adjust ourselves and focusing on ourselves. If it turns otherwise, this is the step we are going to take. History will repeat itself. If it turns otherwise, this is the step we are going to take. And like I rightly stated out, because you want to free yourself from erroneous history, from erroneous identity, it does not mean you should jump into another erroneous history. Mane Samai Igbo, we are not Biafrans. We are not Biafrans, and we can never be Biafra. Nobody on earth will be able to drag us into Biafra. No matter how your saga is so strong on Facebook, you will never be able to turn Esan land into Biafra. You are wasting your time. Instead, come and join your Esan people. Let us protect our identity. Let us tidy our land. Let us dress our land, Esan land. We've seen areas where our history has been tempered. We've seen areas where influence, long-time influence, monarchically and politically, has been used against us. We've seen all those. So we will not come and be crying about barevie je okpaki suku kuku kokia zugere generation but on about ni agbea. So we should not do that. Forget about those people. In history, I've never seen Esan persons coming on air before to come and do saga, to come and tear Esan people on board. And you should not replicate that. To come and start abusing your own fellow Esan persons. It has never happened and it's not happening. Before you know, they will start doing it. They will start doing it. So this is the little history I say, let me come and let us know today. Mera Omones and Biele, Aigbe Okosun. Let me quickly also, before I close, let me take like 30 minutes. I still have a long time. 30 minutes is long enough anyway. To play a particular history that was narrated by the king of Ebele, how he left Edo, how the Ebele people left that circle, Edo, during the era when this decree was made. Let me look for the history quickly. Please be patient with me. Those of us that did not share this broadcast, you have to share it. You have to share it. Press the follow button as well. Let me quickly look for this. Vade.
Tuta buno do sote bele. Buke na resi. Oge no mo ebo na ha, ebo no ora no mo ebo ha, pa be do na lawa gba tuta buno do sote bele.
I want you to know that Okpale Dore, that is, he left there. It does not mean you left there. Where you left, the people that are there are the one who gave birth to you. We are in a union. Unitary union.
Again, I don't want to have it about Kupino. They believe right. They believe about Pano, no, it's still one level test. So, Billy will bueno was hotel. So, about Bemara need the Ota Bella Wofure, any unnecessary belly not to Taliban. Okono Pano, where not a palo with Bello Quaban or sooner than by Barami. So, already Billy Paloma, there ain't no bunny who are on a Boga Ruge. When I more than when no get no the kind of ya Boloria, I want to look over what I do. Obama, dear, it's not about to bury when I have Bulia. I said, you're the building away. no form be na we anya ta bo boda we na ara la wo ana sene uniwa.
Did you hear that? So there was an errand that was also sent from the Oba of Benin. That you know that the Benin, they always come to ask of warriors from the Esan. Just like, for example, like maybe the Israel, they are the allies of America, and the Americans and the America, they are the allies of the Israel. So Israel know fully well how powerful they are. So if they want to embark on a mission such as war, or such as to go and destroy a particular place, those people who they feel these persons has offended them, knowing fully well that they don't have enough machineries, enough warriors, they will demand from their allies or from their allies to lend warriors to them. So as what the Onoje Zaiki of Ebele is narrating here now, is telling us that the one time Oba of Benin came to Ebele, to the Onoje of Ebele, to ask him to lend them warriors, because they want to go and kill all those human beings, because that was how it was really brutal during the era of the monarchical reign of the Benin as at that time. You understand? The Benin, the land of the land that flows with blood, the land of blood. It was really brutal. So anybody who do anything is to be behead. So because they were going for that mission, they know fully well that they might be defeated. So where they have to look at a powerful allies, which are the Esan. So when they got to Ebele, Ebele said, no, that do you want blood to be in our hands? Right from time, the Esan people forbid shedding of human blood. Shedding of human blood. You, for example, I'm not saying that is what happened. That is what happened. I want to say something. What I want to say now, I'm not saying literally is what happened. For example, you as a native doctor and the other person is a native doctor. If your medicine, the way you make it up is of human blood, there's another native doctor that knows how to go to the world beyond without human blood. He will always overpower you. That is why you see the Esan medicine does not fail. And the Edo will say, as a gualihun, as a gualu ebo, wote do amana mio wote do, awina rio te san amio viva. If you look for medicine, spiritual medicine, any medicine, you not see for the whole of Benin. They will say, make we go Asian one, we go see for there. Now, so this is what the Onoje of Ebele was saying, that they refuse. This is history, not yesterday, not 10 years, not 20 years, not 100 years ago. This is history. And he said they reject, they refuse such demand. We cannot lend you warriors to go and kill people because we don't want blood to be in our hands. It is forbidden for we to shed human blood. Please share. Share to all Esan platform you know. Share if you have not shared.
Ona kedo. Oda gbe aba ha we oda na we na gbe ya. Go ye ro na gbe eno ge ohun ni ora le gbe agba. Unyi kan ora do hospital. Ìwọ́n bẹ́ẹ̀ wo yàn rẹ̀ dé. Ìyàwó lè bèrè lẹ́yìn ọ̀nà àríyá ìṣẹ́ pàtàkì ohun ẹ̀wọ̀ ìṣẹ́. Ẹ̀yìn ẹ̀wọ̀ náà rẹ̀ ọ̀pá ẹ̀gbà ọ̀gẹ̀bà ìdúmò ọ̀gẹ̀ òkúta ọ̀gẹ̀ náà lókùnkùn ọ̀gìṣẹ́ náà rẹ̀ òróòrè. Ẹ̀yìn ìyá ìṣẹ́ náà ẹ̀dádì wọn wọ ìdádì dùn wọ́ rìwọ́ mẹ́rẹ̀yìn ẹ̀dín ọ̀rẹ́ rìwọ́. And that did moon. A camel boo, a counter was see a ba here. Although as well as Palonia, and the said was a would say it. I wanted to call you the level. Now do I never now. I said you cook with myself, you cook. I'm your kumu. I want 700 that way. I will build it to our one of the other. ebele ma ofure oworo te bele emi opa me bele wa re goji ma gbaleji o yara wo na ma wo mu noji.
Okay, let me end it there. That is what I want you to hear. But this history sometimes is not appropriated. The history sometimes is not our history sometimes is not appropriated. Sometimes even some of our monarch, they try to, just because they don't want us, the children, to hear some certain things. They don't want to say it at but we ought to put our senses together to at least do justice to our history. Just normal sense will let you know this is not supposed to be like this, even if you were not born before that time. Even if you were not born before that time. Ordinarily, you'll be able to assess things to say, there is history that says that some people are children of the Oba of Benin. There is history of the Esan people that traces far back to Idu. So, how come we that has been existing for thousands of years now become children of Oba dynasty that was created recently before us? So this is why we ought to dig deep into our history, not in a sagalicious way. So when we see it, we need to now forge ahead on how to make sure that we relaunch our own book. We write our books and relaunch them. Those intellects that write histories, that write books, we need to write books and launch our books and use this book as history books in schools. Because when we are teaching our children erroneous history, we will have problem in the future. Our undergraduates need to know all this. We will have problem in the future. So wherever this, without fear, I am saying this, because I'm not here to abuse anybody, and you can call me for interrogation if you so wish, and a lot of questions that I don't want to answer, that we Esan people don't want to answer, will not be dished out, instead of hating me for the truth that I am saying. So if I am afraid, knowing fully well that there are people there that will hate me for the truth that I am saying, I wouldn't come out. But I'm not afraid of haters. I am only concerned about the sanity of Esan people. I am only concerned about appropriating our history. I am only concerned about Esan development. I am concerned about industrializing Esan land. That is what I am concerned of. I am not concerned about mere Facebook haters. You see me here, you can hate me, but it ends there on Facebook. So I am studying earnestly, doggedly, fervently, with all tenacity to tell my people this. If Anthony Enahoro was not afraid, why should I be afraid? If Urokbota, the bona Esan man that came to Benin with all his might, and a quarter was given unto him because of his spiritual might, and called Urokbota. If he was not afraid, why should any Esan man be afraid to come out to rightly sensitize their people? If I have been able to defend the integrity of Oba of Benin, that nobody should come out to abuse Oba of Benin, it's not accepted, we were not brought up like that, then I should be also bold enough, strong enough to defend the Esan identity, to advocate for sanity to be done to the history of the Esan people. I repeat, we are not children of the Oba of Benin. If you give birth to, I want to ask every one of you here, all your children that you gave birth to, do they have similar and dissimilar language? Their language the same. So how come our language and the people who gave birth to us is not the same? There are a whole lot of dialects in Esan land that does not in any way sound like Edo. There are a whole lot of languages you will speak, dialects in Esan language that does not sound like Edo. And even if it sounds like Edo, in as much it's not the same, we should be able to ask questions. Any history that you cannot question, you know that there is something hidden there. Any people who are offended, if you question a particular written down history, they are offended, they are abusing you, they call you to say you have erred, you will know that there is something hidden. You must be able, you must be free to ask questions without being abusive. Nobody should buckle you up inside unity concept or inside unitary concept that you are not able, you are not free to ask some questions. And if you ask questions, if the answer that is given to you is not proven beyond reasonable doubt, you are within your right to reject the answer. You are within your rights, you are within your fundamental human rights to reject the answer. So my Esan persons, my Esan people, there is nothing wrong in asking questions, just like religion. There are a whole lot of religion that we have. Today, Christianity has taken over Esan land. Our culture is no longer there. 95% of our culture has been Christianized. If you have asked questions, the Christians, they'll be angry. If not that, it was also the Esan people that stopped Islamization when Islamization was coming into Esan, even though we have some few parts of Esan from Ewu. That it would have gotten to Iraqme, to Uromi and every places. But it was the Esan warrior that stopped the Islamization. Large part of Esan land today would have been Muslims as well. You go to all Esan pages out there, you will not see any of the Esan pages where Esan history are thoroughly dished out. You will not see any of the Esan pages where Esan culture, they are all bastardized, demonized, and called fetish. Because you are in a religious concept that is alien to you, that was brought by the colonial masters. And it has been normalized. We are not going about with fictional identity and going about with praising imaginary God. Yes, I tell you the truth, the people's identity, the people's culture that is wasting away and fading away is mostly the Esan people. Culture 7 years remaining, 7 years remaining, down to the Onojoki, Monogene, B.S. Solomon, Philip, and all that. Your first identity is your name. When your name is not pronounced in your dialect, in your language, you are going about with misplaced identity. You are misidentifying yourself. When somebody say identify yourself, first of all, you start with your name. And when you that is supposed to be custodian of a people culture, custodian of a people custom, indigenous people, you are that custodian. Your identity is erroneous. Where are we heading to? Where are we going to? Where are we heading to? Check all the SR page there. It's always Bible verses, one pastor preaching here and there that you see. They will open page and call it SR this, SR that. But what are they doing in the SR page? Nothing. We need to correct ourselves. All our page need to be thoroughly SR. We need to focus on SR. We ought to do away with religion. Leave religion. Religion has dealt with us enough. Esanazen menia edoada bieme. Meda pa edo meda doji school. Finish school semaine li hotel eco. Meke dio meda ni tension to Esan. I won't be able to. I wouldn't have know how to even speak, or not to talk of even hear what you are saying. Because enojo isori wo e ata ekire bore mi se san esan is ekire bore mi sorry. Esan are awon ere unwe. Bakiche na ewo hesan. Other years see 10 years, other see 10 years esan ki will fall if we continue like this. Et tu bref faire perdre c'est il faut rien doré na. Culture c'est doré ema louveni. But page ni wa true dia. Me ta me faire rêver. I was disappointed. Because we have been largely Christianized. What the colonial masters brought is what is affecting us. If we also gave way to Islam, just as Islam took over most part of Auchi, it would have also took over Esan land like that. Elenania, I am a cultural man. Es ivoke sa bimo. Aye eni esa. Eni ebo. Imona biele ejereze sa. Iwoke sa ni biele ni mo. Ejereze sa. Iwoke sa na biole vetesa. Azesa esa rie unwe. Mena ki biole to edo mi ajo medol lo esa. Dimi ana no esa. Me ajo medol lo culture se san. Dimi ana mi oni culture se san we. Page ne chuji arebe page si pastor this, pastor that, pastor Jeremiah, pastor Chris, pastor Suleiman, so on and so forth. That is it, my brother. It's not my fault, but you have to give me accolade because I want your tesa. I want revenue. I want school ni. But me levi ne school tesa e a do toaze sa me asabo so ye zone san rekan. Me asabo so ye zone san rekan. Me we are be blame ra ne dion a wotesa. Oh you may, it's not my fault. You even have to praise me. Iwoke san bui ne bi na biole wotesa. Ejere zesa. Eni se efi, eni se ege. Eni se ki ayi Austin. Eni se ki ayi Austin. Denem omon we biania. Si the son name is so ki ayi Austin. Ono moni on be jouario. O joua. We fiore ege. Mais va de. Mais eni se me regis courrier. Innocent. Mais qui m'aurait faux. I'm now a man of my own. Me da fione ni. Me da change joy. Passport is an error. International passport is an error. Fiore. Aigbe Okosun. Ohona. We need to change things. Start with yourself. Start with your identity. Start with your identity. Because for example, innocent. I'm not distracted. You say I should move on. I'm on. Everything I am saying is what we need to know. I am speaking. All these things has affected us. Aigbe Okosun. In the next generation is 20 years. Next 20 years to come. I had no jar esan qui joua. Because around day, ma ni bioli money e money ma biele e ki a sa eniwa. And eniwa innocent eni ebo. And almost the surname will be innocent. Is that not a taboo for your surname to be English name? There is erroneous identity that was adopted unknowingly by our parents and by some of our kings by reason of colonialism. Erroneous identity, misplaced identity that was adopted by some of our parents and some of our kings. Have you ever seen any king in Germany that his name is Eichoya? Have you ever seen any king in Spain, the Spanish person, whether woman or man? His or her name is Ofure. Have you seen any English person bury a son name? Osewaki to a never te doni. Actually, those states. Osewa to an emane san. Bimeregu as a san ye. I struggle to say no. Identity is a ruin. No jouan wo boran de omo jommehin. Mais dans j'ai un boja ye on European ya e sami agwalon. Mais dans agwano e sami da on isa. Kuro mi me da reho. Was it that there was no white women for there or other group in Africa? I specifically said no. I specifically said no. The job I was doing in Germany as self-employed, cleaning swimming pool, trimming flowers, and houses that are newly built. I will be contacted to come and clean these houses, and I will be paid per hours. I was earning cool money before I stopped the job. Do you know how many white young women I was supposed to marry? I vehemently rejected because within my mind there is something I want to protect. There is something I want to protect. Is it that I did not see other group of people too? I suffered a lot. So I didn't have documents on time. I stayed more than 6 years in Germany. Before I moved to Germany, I stayed more than 3 years in Italy. From Italy, I went to Switzerland. From Switzerland, I went to Austria. From Austria to Germany. You think I don't see other people marry? Esa biomo ok homo ajere ba reje sans re. Ba reje sans reje. Ba san abiomo ki homo a genere. Ba ki reje wan reje in the next generation. Esan ayeze eni san aye homo emo eni san. Esan ajere gbe ajere chesan. Culture se san ereve junwa. Fetish aketi haiti culture se san. Eraude e muy Christianity that is why we need to focus. Na feel again jimada zegbe wan obo. Nebo choy lose guard. Na mama feel ere. Jimada zeg because mama ma zegbe wan obo. Politics yo amare tele kino. Uromi ki a lo soe. Esa carnival na no heke ni ma lu. Ake ami uromi carnival. Ake ami ewu carnival. Carnival rewe na ha. O jao. O jakona. Ayelu ni kugbe. Pekize nada mimafu. Amimafu nia. Esa na Aigbe, esa na le marehin. On a ziole meda vai. Eki vai, meda kyoja meda joye ni sene. Although it's not the fault of my father is a cultural man, my father is not a Christian. Traditional man. The Akase of Ugbo land. But one way or the other, colonialism affected us. Neki fio le menajo meke muhe. Or suppose mere fear where mere fio where mere changing me because that is not supposed to be my name. That is my passport. It's on my document everywhere. Aigbe is my name. Aigbe Okosun. Because if I don't do that, my children, their surname is going to be innocent. And when I am no more, how will my children be able to trace their ancestry? Or how will the children of my children be able to trace their ancestry? Because the name is lost. Because that was what they did to most of the black in America. The slave masters tortured the slaves to change their names, and the slaves changed their names to their slave owner's name. And in America, those black people you see today, their link has been completely wiped out, except they go and do DNA tests. Everyone, all the slaves that were shipped away from Africa, they changed their name to their slave master's names or to their slaves owner's name. That was what the slave. If your identity starts from your name, immediately you change your name, your identity has been changed physically and spiritually. And the weight that should be there, if you call your name spiritually in your language, it will not be there when you call it in another man's language. There is nothing that will be able to kill me. Because Aigbe actually, Aigbe, I know, it's an Aigbe, it's an Aigbe. Oh, that whole thing. Or suppose when no, Obiaba, but where I fake as on this anage. Bore lo esange. I did not me want you always me don't know where we toys for one night. Na re bien me making one refo me that to go me drive it. And she say me that to go me visit it. Me one refo. And I did not sleep there for once before I came to Europe. So you ought to be challenged. You ought to be challenged. Matobo ma mogbe wan gboto. A na host the program edele na we culture se wan o imare ma. Emi agmo e. A jona le ronwo Jesus. Is that our culture? Why say me the second said do et rien ne rend rete culture c'est et qui a Jesus. This is why most things is not working for you people any longer. This is why it's not working for you people. Wa kioja eni soso ya sunu, ni soso ya sunu. Era mude eni no si Jesus were kioja. Eni no si Jesus were kioja. Abame amyoesa. Abana no bioba no abame na abame. Abame na abame o abame na abame. Amyoeta esa. Eni o se no bloa amyoeta esa. Colonial master qui va eda joy Jesus o sanoboa. Ote Israel ni Christianity da vai e ni roman le da ni e ki joni no si Jesus. Era ude the government of Israel did not legalize Christianity in Israel land. Madame mo he hotel Nigeria then esada mo he ose sanki twane kiole. Ima wi awo eboro banere gbe ni o emere town ya. Ima wi awo ma degbere ma chichire. Ima degbere ni ma chichire. Abungbe esan yede ocha abungbe. Ocha abungbe wa. Most especially imoni ma biene ima nwe awo. Amwe san imoni ma biene. 20 years from now, 20 years generation. What are we going to say? What are we going to tell our ancestors? Bimare kike hi revaije. When you have misplaced your identity when you were living. Boare zoro je. Orose o bo ha. Ebe sonora o. Boare chiche hi revaije. When you were living, the identity of Esa that was given to you to hold. So, because it circle every human identity in human community. It circle, it rotates. It comes. It's evolutionary immortal energy. When you lose the evolution in it, when you lose the immortality in it, when you lose the energy in it, you will not be able to uphold your identity in the next generation. Because the immortal evolutionary energy that should reincarnate is stuck souls, lost identities, misplaced identities. Oimakime. Oche keni mare fie gbe mare ma fe gbe mare no sen ni ma jagbe no sen na biomo aki hole o dia no sen imana ma fie gbe mare no sen ma da jagbe mare no sen iwo ke san ere asoso riwo to na gbona no asaboro terezona resan rezona kon. Our oceanary. It's our focus era. We have to focus on ourselves. We have to appropriate ourselves. We have to correct things that has been misplaced, starting from our history. We should not in any way cut side our history at the detriment of any monarch, of any unitary system. We accept that Okba, but at the detriment of that unitary system, we should not in any way cut side our history, for we to be able to continue to please that unitary system. It is very, very important. Start from yourself. Every one of us, let us start adopting our Esa name. Very, very important. Your first name should not start with English, and your last name should not end with English. Don't wake up and say good morning to your husband if you both are Esans. I have never greeted my father good morning. That is to say, Peking go day for you. And those things, it has power. Those cultural ways of life. For every one of us, that is the men. The women we say, Gbomon. I say, where Makijo Ania. I'll say, where Kijo Naihai. Et n'arrive fion edo ereve bere toye et with good money. Ask if you don't know. Call your father in the village. If you don't have father in the village, call those your people in the village. Ask them besare toye. Bimare toye bema jelegbe. Good money ma betwe. Good morning, Matwe, said the Ragwe. You need to be asking yourself all this, because if you don't know all this, how would you be able to retain the Esan culture? Before Christianity came viral to Africa, Mahabel no se no bloa, bezea biomoaki heli osewe. Bimarel ni ron je a ne ron mama na jo e ni no si Jesu oni ron ni awon bi na innocent. Ni ma wi awo. So all this is area where we need to look into. For those of you that open up groups and you are not using the group to revive Esanhood. You are just there for Facebook group show for nothing. You have to be challenged. You have to be challenged. Why did you open the group? What are you doing? What are you asking? How are you recalibrating the Esan people? So my people, na zobo inafu. there is more to it anyway. Ma Sigbe Akoko no sen. Ma Diaute San no sen. E Kochone San wa. E bare ni ye ote san. Na mama lole. Na mama lu Kochone San wa. E san na ze. Oke ke mare aze. We family no se wa. Amio ewole bo weji. You are very, very privileged if Esan marry Esan. Or Juhi, Owano Sevan, Ajono Nijo, Oja, Honey, my viva Esan Maze, my Yezebo, my mom, E Bonu Azeman Ba. The children know how to speak English more than you. All those cut and English more than they speak. Now they force on themselves. The children, they will know how to speak the English if they don't know how to speak the English. You work in Ghana. The way they born for you, when I don't come across, no one of them don't carry go Ghana. They revere all those small children. Now Ghana, they talk. Ghana language. Same thing with Cameroon. Same thing with Kenya. Don't you come across them? Same thing with Gambia. Don't you come across them? They are children because everyone silly. They are in school. If English is a priority, English is not intelligence. You know how to speak English fluently well does not mean you are intelligent. You are only speaking language of communication of a group of people, the Britain people. That is where it ends. It does not mean you are intelligent. You know how to speak English fluently well. Does not mean you are intelligent. Intelligence is not measured by spoken language. Do not prioritize a people's language over your own language. You should be ashamed of yourself that you don't know how to speak your own language fluently well. You should be. You should not be ashamed that you don't know how to speak English fluently well, because that is not your identity. That is not your language. Do not, I repeat, do not prioritize a people's language over your own language. Emi ukira, awan lesera, Abiomo, Princess, Destiny, Joshua, what be all those ones? Pikin when you born, as you dey give am breast, so you dey use this and they talk to them. You dey use this and they communicate from Ronare, Biodegbe, Modiakene, Vare, Rukbure, Ronare. That pikin, he no need to stay Ishan land before he know how to speak Ishan. And you and your husband, if you they communicate for us, people now they use Ishan until they talk mostly because your children are listening. That is where they learn from. You can do if you're near a any do. Or say Sanda, other Ashon Lily. Or say Sanda Ashon Lily. No, you might win because I may only some money man or a year ago. Fiole, only some money man or a year ago, turn at Mona or a year ago. A san e bare you no. Culture no say san e bare you no. Aki kuko ke aki monya won e san. They've Christianized our cultural identities. Knowing fully well that Jimajel test and your New York mano. All the way here you go. Our history, I trace to 11th century to Oba dynasty. like as if the era of the advent of the word Esan, that is when Esan began their race. The ma fear again. So you ma to bog big bima. Around there, one lense. Most Esan page, ni woke Esan se man invite him and made all the ba me and say that ni nothing there. Elena Bible verse, ako Bible verse. Eki posti Pastor Chris Elena, ako eki posti Pastor Jeremiah. Different miracle ne arrange ni pastor e posti one page. Make is fake hesitate be one page because e rive ni me lo ni. Nothing there. Ni ma wi awo ni ma kwe kokonos. Esan jo eba luo esan alu. Eba lu alu. Eba lu alu. Ma fini gbe kwa. So my people, let me end it here now. See some other time. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid of anybody, irrespective of any supremacy concept. Respect everybody. Give them everybody adequate respect. Don't engage people with foul languages. That is how to show the level of your intellectual capability. That is how to show your intelligence. When you are engaging people, the way you ask some questions, you question some certain popularly accepted truth, falsehood. Popularly accepted false because the fact that falsehood has stayed long and is accepted by majority does not make it truth. So the way you come up and question things intelligently shows the level of your intelligence. You might be questioning those certain falsehood. And the English language you're trying to speak in expressing yourself is not as fluent as those people who implemented that falsehood. It does not mean that those people who implemented that falsehood, they are more intelligent than you. It does not mean so. So, what am I saying in essence? Whatever it is that concerns your identity, your history, if you sense any falsehood in it, if you sense any erroneous narration in it, do not be afraid of anyone before you question it, before you debunk that falsehood, before you rightly sensitize your people that has been going about with that falsehood. Yes, will people not attack you? They will attack you. Merely by hate. Would they be able to take one hair away from my beard? No. Would they be able to pay my bills? No. I will still be the one to pay my bills continuously. So why should I sit back, knowing fully well that this is falsehood, and I am allowing it to circulate amidst our innocent sons and daughters? The only way to debunk falsehood is to bring up reasonable engagements, to engage those people that are narrating the falsehood. Like I have said earlier, if really and truthfully the innocent people are children of the Benin, will you as parents, mother or father, first of all, say that before you kill a snake, if you see a snake, before you kill that snake, first of all, kill your children, kill your child. As it is said erroneously that the Essans are the children of the Benin. So if we are children of the Benin, why would the Benin have such proverbs that says, irrespective of anything at all, why would they have such proverbs that say, Uka gboye sane, uke gbenyeni. If you see snake, you see a some person, first kill the a some person before you kill the snake. Why would they say so? Nobody will first of all kill his own child before he kills snake. We are one, quite understanding, and nobody is disputing that fact. Our oneness should not be at the detriment of misnarrating our history. We are not saying we are not one. We are one. We are not saying we are not one, but we are standing in a gap in making sure that our history that has been long erroneously narrated, we appropriate it. Because we say we'll be one, it don't mean say you can sit down for inside my nose. It don't mean say you can sit down for my head. We are one, but not at the detriment of seeing us as less important. Not at the detriment of misnarrating our history. We are not children of the Oba of Benin. We are part and parcel of ourselves. Oba did not marry a wife and gave birth to some people. The same Idu where the Oba, the Edo traces their history to, that is exactly place the Esan traces their history to. Our history did not start in the advent of the Oba dynasty. We have been existing before the arrival of the Oba dynasty. Even if you are not thoroughly learned or thoroughly schooled in history, with rational sense of reasoning, you will be able to reason and rationalize these facts that I am telling you now. This message is not a message to discontinue our oneness, but a message to do justice to the history of the Esan people. We are not children of the Edo. Edo, the word Edo is a name of a person, a servant to say. Yes, the hate is there. The hate is there. But irrespective of it, you cannot say you are not one. Even in family circle, there is still hate. So because maybe from your extended family or your polygamous family, the other side hates the other side, cannot deny your oneness. But record must be set straight. Record must be set straight. We are one, not at the detriment of misnarrating my identity. Nobody has the monopoly of Idu. This Osasu is saying all childhoodness are. What does that mean? That is your choice. So because all childhoodness are Esan, we should be stupid and keep mute when our history is misnarrated. What does that mean? It does not hold any facts here. It's your choice. You choose your friend wherever you wish to. My friendship is not limited to Esan. It's not limited to Edo. It's not limited to Igbo. It's not limited to Yoruba. So that is not the bond of contention here, my dear sister. It's not the bond of contention. The bond of contention is we are coming up to do justice to the Esan history. We are great people, and there is nobody that is greater than us as far as greatness is concerned. There is no one that is greater than us as far as greatness is concerned. And in your own tribe, in your own group, in your own domons, you can also applicate that to yourself. That as far as greatness is concerned, there is no one that is greater than you. We are under a political structure, whether in monarchical way or political way, where one is taken to overhead that political structure. Does not mean that we are your children. Does not mean that we are your children. Kingsley Anthony, which of my way do you want me to change? Am I answerable to you? Do I give account to you? In my way and the way I go about with my way, do I give account to you? Are you my creator? Am I your subject? Am I answerable to you? Be optimistic. When you say change your ways, you will point out my way you are asking me to change. Did I steal from you? Am I owing you and I'm not paying you? Or am I into dubious activities? I'm into legitimate business. Change how? Change how? You are the one that is not understanding it. You are the one that is not understanding it. And it's up to you to listen attentively. To listen attentively to be able to understand it. But what I'm going to be doing, I just need our people to give me attention. And I believe they're hearing. You understand? And any one of you that will be coming to distract, my block button is permanently activated so that I will be able to focus. So that I will be able to focus. As this platform says, it's some focus. It's our focus. We have looked into our history. We saw that our history has been tampered with. We have looked into our history. We saw that our history is always erroneously narrated that says that we are children of the Oba of Benin. Or we are children of the Oba. We are saying no, we are not children. A brother cannot give birth to his brother. You, for example, let me use you as a case study. The children that your parents gave birth to, are you and your brother, are you the father of your brother? Are you the one that gave birth to your brother? So can't you see it's erroneous? Even if say your parents, for example, they are no more, for example, will you come up tomorrow to say, these are your children? It is said like that. It's a figurative speech to say, okay, the Aigbe, we call all the children in that family, all the people in that family, his children. But literally, they are not his children. So that is why this topic is stated as emphatically that the Esan people are not literally the Oba, the children of the Oba of Benin. So the peace we need in Edo State must continue, but not at the detriment of misnarrating our history. Coming up to do sanity to people's history does not mean you are against peace. You are only If you don't want to listen to people that are asking questions and that are challenging some falsehood, it means that you have a lot of things to hide. And we are going to be doing justice to all that. We don't need anything to temper our peace in Edo State. And in that circle of peace, everybody have rights. If your peace feel threatened, you have rights to move away from that unity where your peace feel threatened. History that repeats itself can also repeat itself, just as we also moved away. We still have rights to move away. The Delta states, they moved away from Bende. And you have Delta states. The Urhobo people, they are in their pursuit of moving away. They are in their pursuit of moving away, and they are agitating for Wado City. And all the Edo people that have come across on page, they are always saying they stand with Urhobo people. So what are you trying to say? It does not mean that you and your brother that is living under one roof, and that your brother is not enjoying that kind of way and one that you're talking about. It does not mean that your brother, that both of you are living under one roof, is not enjoying that kind of we need peace in this house you're talking about, mere lip services peace. Is not enjoying it. That your brother is within his right to move away from that house. That does not mean that you people are not brothers any longer. That does not mean you people are not brothers any longer. So we must do sanity. You understand? Edo State is big enough to produce 3 states if we have to look at it holistically. Most of the states we have in Nigeria are bigger than some countries in Africa. Most of the states. The population in Lagos State alone is bigger than most population in some countries, some African countries. So what are you talking about? Kaduna alone is equivalent of producing 4 states. Edo State is equivalent of producing 3 states. If we should look at it from angle, say, okay, let's really be creating states. But if you have listened to my message right from when I have been able to do justice to the Biafrans and even help you that is here now, that was asking if Nigeria break today, where will Benin be? I did justice to that. Now, it should not be at the detriment of keeping mood continuously when a group of people are being marginalized inside the same house. So, everybody ought to sit on a round table for such so-called we are one to continue. So that is it, my people. That is it, my people. Please, all the Esan persons here, I want you to carry my message to our Esan people, most especially those ones that are on mere Facebook page and they are doing saga. I am asking them to discontinue their saga. I am asking them not to come on Facebook page to come and be abusing monarchs. We were not trained like that. I know they learned it from our Edo brothers and sisters, but we were not trained like that. I am asking them to discontinue. We have been able to see all areas where we are lacking behind as Esan people. And we ought to go and be talking behind and focus on Esan, and for we to have our agenda, not on Facebook. Atanakma was not bettered on Facebook. It was not bettered on Facebook. It was only bettered on ground and uploaded on Facebook. We the Esan people might Aigbe So if you can't come on Facebook, come they do saga, Uye san, or Isan and be not saying with him. If you can't come on Facebook, come they abuse people, come they do saga, they follow the Yore, they follow the others, they Nogi, then they do. Uye san, Zelebo. Zelebo. Je ne nyanagma. E san lo ni. And most especially, don't because of you or you want to move away from identity that you feel that this identity is erroneous, you will not go and adopt another identity that is erroneous. Like I have said before, we are not Biafrans, we are Igbo. And there is nothing wrong with the Igbos that choose to pilot their affair with Biafra, but we are not Biafra. That should be stated at rightly. There is nothing wrong with the Igbos that choose to run their race with Biafrans. But we, Manesan, Esan Mahin, Mai Biafra. Why won't I know? If there is Esan chief, do you know that the Edo greets like Esan? Why would I know? We can discontinue that anytime. Have you ever seen any Edo person that introduced himself as Esan man? But you people always want Esan people to be saying that they are Beninese. And you say we are one. You don't identify yourself as Esan. You want the Esan to always identify themselves as Beninese. Does it work that way? If me, I'm your brother, you must identify yourself as me, and I will identify myself as you. So when you are saying, do I know, that palace, do you think it was built by only the Edo people? You can't lay claim to that palace only. If we divide our states today, the Esan have their states, we will not be answerable to Oba of Benin. We have who we call the Aigbe of Esan. Aigbe Esan. It's because we are together. It's because we are together. That is why you see that we are doing things together. But if we feel threatened in that togetherness, we have our right to repeat the history we made before. Maybe you are deaf. Let me block this guy. Let me block him. I've blocked him. So we have rights. It's not an abusive word. It's a word to call us to order. It's a word to call us to order. If you are saying, do you know that, what does that mean? Are we not the ones who built the kingdom together? We are the ones who built the kingdom together. Do you know that there are inside our palace, there are places where any other tribe cannot be. Inside that palace, Iwebo, there is restriction. There is a particular society in that palace where a man cannot be chief. It's only the Edos. Do you want me to start narrating things out? Because I pay full attention to everything that happens in there. So there's a whole lot of things that should be questioned. If we are one, we should not have restriction inside the place of we call our father. If we have restriction, we have to move away. Inside our palace. So we are asking questions, and our questions should be answered. If we are one, why there is a particular chamber? Why is there a particular chamber inside the palace of Benin where any other tribe in that Edo state cannot become a member? It means there is something hidden. If we are one as claimed, is a question, and the question should be answered without saga, without abuse, without anger, without hate. if we are one like claim, there is no place inside my father apartment that all my father children cannot get to. I don't want to speak much. I don't want to speak much concerning that. These people, they want me to be talking what they don't know. Yes, very good question. Sir, what is the bone of contention? Who is this person? Kingsley. Almost Regina. Yes, the bone of contention is, I don't have to keep repeating myself. You just have to go and, because I want to close now, you have to go and listen to this broadcast from the beginning again. The bone of contention is that we, the Esans, are not children of the Oba of Benin. The Oba of Benin are not children of the Esan either. We all have our history traced to Idu. That is why in Esan land, there is no place in Esan land that is named as Oba Market, Oba Street, Oba Nyagbon, Oba Retin, Oba Sugi. It's always Iduena, Iduoni, Iduonta, Iduena, Idunure. That is what we have, because that is our ancient identity. We all come from Idu, and nobody have monopoly to Idu, and nobody should lay claim to Idu only. You understand? Whether you are in Edo State or outside Edo State, we need to be able to understand that we have a lot of commonalities amidst us. But at the detriment of our oneness, a group of people's history should not be tempered like our history has been tempered. So I felt my history is tempered. I know my history is tempered. That is why I am coming up to rightly sensitize the Esan people. The bone of contention is that, my brother, the Esan race did not begin from 11th century. The Esan race did not begin from the advent or the era when that word Esan was chosen. We have been existing before the word Esan. The bone of contention is when you hear our people ask Jumana Vai, they always say that we do Madavai. The bone of contention is no, we are not. We are not. Because Edo is a person and his name is Edo, and he was the slave of, sorry, not the slave, the servant of Prince Ogun that was killed. And to compensate him or to commemorate him, that group was named after him. That is when that word Edo came. So before that Edo, the Esan people has been existing. So you say, where is Idu is not literally a location, or it's not stuck into a geographical location. Idu is a person who is the progenitor of group of people, of a people, is called Pa Idu. It's called Pa Idu. The place where the person was born can be called Idu. Does not mean, okay, it's just like Urokbota. Urokbota Hall in Benin. If that Urokbota was a country, it does not mean that that place called Urokbota happened to be Urokbota just like that. For example, Urokbota is an Esan man who came with a strong defense medicine power to that geographical location now called Benin. And when he gave some words, the Yoruba said, Okota. Then Uro means chamber, quarter. So they now gave him that chamber as his quarter to be residing. And he was residing there, implementing his defense spiritual power. And that is why you have that place that is called Urokbota. So because that place is called Urokbota today, does it mean that that is where Urokbota actually hailed from? Or that is where Urokbota started his race? Urokbota came from Esan. Just as Idu did not fall from the sky. Is a person. The place where he settled and began his existence or his engagement or his life can be called Idu, but Idu is a person. That is why it's called Pa. Pa means elder, ancient person. And in that southern part of the world today, most of the southern part of the world and some other parts, I say southern part of the world, southern part of Nigeria, so to say. Southern part of Nigeria, southeast, southwest, south. Most of them, they have affinity, they are affiliated to Idu. If you get to the east, you will still see Idu areas. So, if we really understand the mere lip services we are one that we are talking about, we should be able to know that there is no reason for we to be hating and fighting ourselves, irrespective of our similar and dissimilar spoken languages. We should be able to know that we have shared a lot of commonalities amidst us by reason of long time coexistence. By reason of long time coexistence. This is what it means. So no group of people have monopoly to Idu. No group of people can lay claim to Idu only to say they are only the Idu. If we are doing that, there is no time we will be able to set the unity of Africa at large together. Because we will not be able to understand our oneness for real. We will not be able to see Igbo man as Yoruba man, as Benin man, as Urobo man. Urobo man has not been able to see himself as that. We need to see ourselves as who we are, but not at the detriment of misnarrating a group of people history in that Idu unity. This is what we need to understand. Any history that is tempered is by reason of supremacy concepts. It's by reason of supremacy concepts where one wants to be seen as the supreme. And if as a group of people, there is no courts that will be able to judge against you for coming up to question a particular history. There is no juju that will be able to kill you for coming up to question a particular history. Except you don't know what you're doing. Except you don't know what you're doing. Like I stated earlier, there is no group of people, whether deaf or dumb, that you put honey into their mouth and the person will spit it away. Nobody will want to break away from any unity concept that they are rated equal, that they have the same value. No group of people will dare. When you see people breaking away from unity, do you see how Benin is been reducing from time? People have been breaking away. Because we don't want to humble ourselves to ourselves, because we don't want to speak the truth out. We must speak the truth out for we to be able to continue to pilot the affair of Okba Mahin. Or Okba Mahin. Or we are one. I repeat, no court will be able to find you guilty for coming up to challenge a particular history that is erroneously stated. In short, when you take me go court now, I will explain myself well, ask some detailed question to the world, and the world will reason with me.